yo. I'm waiting for the joust. Wait a minute. Let me set the scene real quick. Imagine standing in a Renaissance-era village town. The bustling pathways, the vendors, the clanging of a blacksmith's hammer, the sight of jousting knights, of course, the smell of food, of roasted turkey legs, and the cool breeze pushing from a direction, some direction. Somewhere around here. For a split second, you double take. You aren't in current year anymore. You're in a world that feels much older, grander, alive, with merriment and whimsy, of course. This is ZeroEchoZenith, coming to you live at time of recording. I want to show you a period in which you've never lived, that it keeps drawing us in through a familiarity you can't quite place. This feeling, this aching for a time that you've never lived has a name. Anemoia, or in my own words, phantom nostalgia. That is to say, it's nostalgia for a time that you've never lived in, yet you feel some kind of connection to it through nostalgia. The only place I can think of captures these feelings than a Renaissance fair. Why do we flock to these festivals of kings and queens, of knights, jesters, and merchants? What draws us in to a time that we can only imagine? Why does it draw us all in? To answer these questions, let's take a step back real quick.
Renaissance fairs aren't some ancient tradition that's been passed down for centuries. They're a relatively modern creation created back in the 1960s. Specifically in 1963, Phyllis and Ron Patterson produced the Renaissance Pleasure Fair in Agoura, California. So get this, it was originally supposed to be a fundraiser for a radio station, creating a living history scenario for school children, which blended historical reenactment and theatrics. Phyllis, who was a teacher, was, I guess, frustrated over a lack of arts education, so she brought in a bunch of actors, some which were actually blacklisted from Hollywood, to create an immersive Elizabethan-era village. Fine, I'll do it myself. So what this did was, it immediately exploded in popularity and became a countercultural movement in the country right after the McCarthy era. The 1970s and 80s saw an explosion of these fairs all across the country. By the early 1970s, fairs like the Maryland Renaissance Festival and Bristol Renaissance Fair started from grassroots hangouts to, well, commercially successful events. With some festivals like the Texas Renaissance Festival saw a turnout of about 500,000 visitors each season, which is insane to think about. I assume not all at once, but still, that's so many people, especially if they're all fully dressed in Ren gear, which actually sounds really cool. You'd basically be living in a Renaissance-era miniature country. However, it's not just the historical significance that keeps us coming back to these fairs. There's a lot more to it. So why do we keep attending these things? There are three main things that I've come up with: escapism, community, and showing off your creativity. Kind of like going to a convention and either cosplaying or vendoring. Honestly, I'd have to say escapism is the main reason. At a Ren fair, you can leave the current year on the table for a time. You aren't stuck in traffic going to work or strolling through and consuming brain rot. I've been consuming way too much brain rot lately. I have to stop. You can be anything you want. You're a traveler, a knight, a pirate, a monk, a merchant, a farmer, etc. It's time travel to an existence that feels simpler, more vibrant, compared to your dreary old lives. Alone again on a Friday night? Same. The community is another reason. Fairs have plenty of opportunities to connect with others. The concept of patrons are people who dress up, the attendees themselves acting the parts they wish to convey, and find people that they can fit in with. They cheer at jousting, banter with fake accents, and feel a sense of belonging. And of course, creativity is another example. Ever made a costume before? They're really difficult to make, especially for Ren fairs. Wool, cloth, and cotton, natural leather. Oh, and especially metal. People are mightily impressed by what kind of costumes you can come up with, though. Not even just making them, but putting one together in of itself is a feat. It's definitely a recommendation, a zero recommendation to dress when you come to these things. Trust me, you'll want to. Because it will increase your immersion tenfold and give you a chance to live out that medieval fantasy concept you've always wanted to do, especially when you put all the pieces together and finish it. Want to be a knight? Expensive, but sure. Peasant? Easy to do. Just get a shirt, belt, and pants. Oh, and boots. The most expensive part would be the boots. Fairy? You want to be a fairy? Go get wings. Some fairs in California, I remember, used to be a little bit strict on the dress code, actually, to fit in with the time period. But they would usually have some days that were fantasy themed. Nowadays, nobody cares. Seriously, they don't care. It's fine, you can wear whatever you want. It's really the idea of dressing that people encourage the most. But yeah, this is anemoia at work. We aren't just escaping to the Renaissance era, we're creating a snapshot of a romantic scene. This is romanticism to the highest degree, because it is not perfectly accurate. It's a representation of a lively imagined past, one that we wish we could have witnessed to a degree. I do prefer having modern medicine though, and modern plumbing. Also, let's be real here. It's fun! This stuff is so much fun to get together with friends and hang out, grab some food, and go watch performers with your newly bought cloak.
It's like hailing now. It's literally hailing.
I'm too wet. I'm done. I gotta go. I'm done.
Fairs usually have so many things going on that it's worth just standing in one spot to feel everything. The smell of roasting meat or mead, the sound of music gracing the air, and the sight of costumed patrons and actors. The whole point of it is you're not just watching it all from afar, you're in the middle of it. You're there. There's something to be said about watching knights joust or seeing the multitude of activities in the area. It feels like stepping into a D&D session or some kind of role-playing game, because you take on a role. There really is an empowering feeling of putting on a character for yourself, hence the whole patron word. You may be a bit bolder or more shy, depending on who you want to be. A chance to kind of rewrite who you are in the moment. And yes, the emotions and experiences that you have can be tied back to history. Anything from trying out axe throwing or archery, to watching things like sparring, glass blowing, sewing, leatherworking, and blacksmithing. These all tie into a tradition. Usually these fairs have a noon parade and an end of the day parade to celebrate a final hurrah before closing, and getting security to literally kick everybody out because all the vendors and actors are extremely tired, especially on closing. It kind of unites everyone involved. Performers, patrons, and even attendees visiting for the first time. You feel like you're part of the gang, or the in crowd, so to speak. You really feel like you're there during the Renaissance era. You really feel good. So how does all of this connect to anemoia, you may ask? Aye, that's a great question, viewer. But if you were paying attention, you would already know the answer. But I'm going to talk about it anyways. For my previous video about anemoia, I do give a full definition, but I'll explain it again. The Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows in 2012 was written by John Koenig, who was trying to give names to complex emotions. It's the nostalgia you feel for a time or event you have never known. I personally like to say phantom nostalgia, which is more self-explanatory. I also say that anemoia can also be things that you feel like you've already experienced before, even though this is the first time you're witnessing them yourself. To sum up what philosopher Felipe De Brigard says, when you recall memories, you are simulating the events in your brain, and nostalgia can be done through memories in the same way. With how imagination plays into memories, he states that you could even feel nostalgia for imagined past experiences, events that have never happened, and yet you yearn for them. And because of this sensation, anemoia becomes a very real emotion that you can feel. These moments feed our longing for a past we never knew.
So, I remember fairs. I remember when, I was at least 7, maybe 6. I don't remember my first costume, but I do remember being in costume for a Christmas photo. Let's see here. But yeah, I remember dressing as early as fairs have a lot of music, so much music. That's definitely a part of most Renaissance fairs, is the music and the general atmosphere that you're in. Also a lot of smells, food smells mostly, and dust, a lot of dust. But yeah, I remember dressing as early as like, 10 or 12 when I first started really going, maybe even like 9 or something. I've kept every single costume I've ever had. I'm a pirate today, as you can see. Yeah. This is really fun, this whole thing. And definitely this brings about the feeling of anemoia. We're longing for a time that doesn't exist. I think I've already said that 20 times in this video. All around California, other states, all around the nation, all these fairs take place. And of course, going through a season for like 200,000 people, that's insane. I can't believe it. I want to visit Texas sometime and actually go to their fair. But yeah, they are small to medium size usually. This is one of my favorite ones that I'm in. Yeah, people feel a lot of excitement for coming to these things, either browsing for merchandise or to get, food. They come here for the community, for the shared experience with others, to make connections as well. I actually know I'm just going to put a number out there, I know about 60% of the people here, due to either being with my family or just kind of talking with them generally. So some names I'm forgetting, but that's okay. I know the faces more than the names. It's also overcast today. I did a bunch of B-roll yesterday, probably doing more B-roll now, but I wasn't told it was going to be overcast. I just thought it was going to be slightly colder, but that's okay. But yeah, this place is amazing. I love the court here. Honestly, the layout has changed slightly. It's a lot larger now too. All the people here are super great. They're super friendly. And this was a warmer fair, but it was great. I'm enjoying my time here so much. Again, I haven't worn this in a little while, so you may have seen this during streams, but yeah, I'm really rocking the whole outfit.
Yeah, both those fairs that I went to were really fun. I had a great time on both of them. But hi, we're back. I decided to change my outfit because this is a different day recording. I didn't need to say that. Okay, well, Renaissance fairs are based on a mostly accurate representation of what a Renaissance-era town might look like, bringing it to the modern era. It's an approximation of what they would have looked like back during that time hundreds of years ago. We are drawn to what they represent, being a place for entertainment, hanging out with our friends, and witnessing the escapism that they bring. We attend for the romanticism of the past, participating in jovial celebrations, buying crafts and confectionaries to add to our costumes, or to support the individually owned businesses. One of the reasons why they're so successful is because of the immersion as well. They're a fantastic mix of history, fantasy, and connection to others, which captures what anemoia is, the nostalgia and longing for a past or experience that you've never known or never lived in. I will probably never stop coming to these things because they represent a time that I can let go of the present and let myself enjoy another aspect of life. To see the whimsy, and be involved in the fantastical atmosphere due to my own nostalgia of going to them as a kid. But also my anemoia of that medieval fantasy world that graces my life through fairs each year, and ones that will keep drawing me back in for years to come. That's it. Hey, that's it. That's the video. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is ZeroEchoZenith signing off. Take care, everyone. I'll see you next time. Theater, the grand experience of acting.